How many times do you find yourself asking the question, do I need to speak up or do I need to just be quiet? Do I need to do something or should I just walk away? David is admired for his bold faith when it comes to Goliath. He's this young shepherd boy. All he has is a sling, and he's willing to run toward the battlefield, not to make a name for himself, but to defend the name of God. Goliath had come against God, and he mocked God, and David's courage is rooted not in his let's make a name for myself or stand up for myself, but in his passion for God's glory. And so he runs into this battle. And in 1 Samuel 17, he cries out, "The battle belongs to the Lord." And he defeats the giant. Bold action, bold faith. And then there's another battle years later that David enters into. It's a very different kind of battle. This time, David is on the receiving end of the insults. He's fleeing Jerusalem. His son Absalom wants to take over the kingdom. And David is defeated, leaving Jerusalem. And out of nowhere, this guy, Shimei, shows up and starts attacking David, cursing David, throwing stones at him and his men, and falsely accusing David. And one of his men, his nephew, Abishai, is like, "Hey, let me just go over there and take his head off." And David refuses. He says, "Look, I know we're warriors." But in 2 Samuel 16, he says, "Let him curse. It may be that the Lord will see my distress and repay me with good." And David walks away. He remains silent. So one story, bold action, bold faith. I'm going to do something for God. Another story, he walks away, humble silence. Why the contrast? In one story with David and Goliath, David is fighting for God's glory. In the second story, where he remains silent, it's just his reputation. And both of those, bold faith in action, bold faith in silence, are faith, walking in the faith that God is going to direct the situation. Sometimes we're quick to respond. Sometimes we're quick to defend, quick to retaliate. And it's not out of a desire to honor God, but it's out of a desire to defend and protect our own pride. Not every accusation demands an answer. Not every insult deserves a reply. Often the greatest act of faith is to remain silent and let God handle it. And so a good question to ask ourselves as we're dealing with people, dealing with conflict, is, am I more concerned with God's reputation or am I more concerned with mine? One fight was for God's glory. The other fight was a humble surrender to God's sovereignty and his ability to stand up and protect David.